Hello students, welcome back. Lesson 10b will cover quadratic models and applications. Models and applications. What can I say? Everything is going to be case by case, and spending some extra time on one type of model will not be directly helpful in other types, and vice versa. Of course, they're going to be helpful in terms of mathematical maturity, but not much directly. How do we handle this kind of difficulty? Well, that's how. Back to basics. Remember all those? The general form, the vertex form, the intercept form, all these kind of things and their relations. Back to basics. If you don't, then stop the playback and restudy all those. Maybe you'll have to go back to lesson 9 and restudy. In any case, let's assume you did all those. And if you do feel comfortable, okay, let's finally begin. In this video, we're going to do the first example only, and this is the most important example, I guess, because after all, this is business algebra, and this is a business example. The price P in dollars and the quantity X sold of a certain product satisfy the demand equation as this. X is negative 5P plus 100. And then we have to answer these questions. Please stop the playback and read through. So, what do we have? We have to express the revenue, and revenue is XP. Do you remember? X is number of units sold, and P is the price. Multiplied together, we get the revenue. So, each item is sold $5, and I sell 1,000 items. Your revenue is $5,000. If I sell same $1,000, but the price, each item is sold $4,000, $4, then the revenue is $4,000. Sorry about that. Anyway, you see the picture, X times P. But then again, in this case, X is negative 5P plus 100. X depends upon P. So this is negative 5P plus 100. And consequently, they give negative 5P squared plus 100P. So what do we have? We have a quadratic model. Okay, R of P is negative 5P squared plus 100P. Okay, there's one answer, and this is written in the general form. But there are alternative forms, and in many cases, among those alternative forms, one of them is easy, and the other one may not be that easy. In this case, the intercept form is easy. Factor 5P out, I get P minus 20. So what do I get? When P equal to 0, revenue is 0, and also P is 20, then we get 20 minus 20, that's 0, so we have revenue 0. So from this form, I can very easily guess the graph. I can actually sketch it like this. So here's the x-axis, or p-axis rather. So P equals to 0 here. And then right here, P equals to 20. That's what I can get from this intercept form. And one more. By the symmetry, we have this vertex here. That takes place at P equals to 10. Remember the average between these two by the symmetry. So price is 10. Plug that into either this form or that form. I'm going to get the maximum revenue. So you can get everything. Okay, let's get out of this drawing mode here so that we can continue typing. Okay, and what's next? The vertex form, negative a, and then x minus 10 squared and we'll figure out K a bit later. And how did I see H is 10? Well, from here, P equals to 0, P equals to 20, the average is 10, so that's when we have maximum, remember? And then as for the K value, I can figure out by plugging in P equals to 10 either to this or that. If you do it right, you're going to get 500. Okay, we have the general form, which was straightforward. The intercept form, just easy computation. And the vertex form, which required a bit of work. Now this one requires a bit of work, so let's not look at this too seriously and pretend that it is very difficult to get. So let's try to answer all these questions using either the general form or the intercept form, which are much easier to find. And let's go back. Let's see, part A, find the model. Okay, we found the model. Here, general form, or here, the intercept form. And we have the answer here. We have the model. Yeah, general form or intercept form. And here's the graph. P equals to 0, we have revenue 0. P equals to 20, we have revenue 0. Those are the x-intercepts. And at the average, P equals to 10, we have the vertex, and that's the maximum because a value is negative. And the maximum at x equals to 10, or rather P equals to 10, excuse me, I can find out the maximum revenue by plugging in P equals to 10 right here and running your calculator. Okay, that was part A. Part B, what's the domain? Well, theoretically speaking, any quadratic function has domain negative infinity to positive infinity in abstract space, but this is not really theoretical stuff or abstract space. This is an empirical problem. Let's go back to this graph. Does it make sense to consider negative price and negative revenue? So it doesn't make sense here. It doesn't make sense there either. The revenue has to be positive, so only this part. And from the picture, you can easily see that the domain is the price between 0 and 20. Make sense? Between 0 and 20. So from the picture, between 0 and 20, but as a matter of fact, to be really precise, is coming from this inequality. You see? The intercept form is a little bit more convenient in this case. So r is greater than or equal to 0. Dividing by negative 5 from both sides, we have p minus 20 is less than or equal to 0 like this. Sorry. Okay. And then we have gone through an awful lot of those quadratic inequalities in previous lesson 10a. And from here, getting 0 to 20, I'll leave you there. And that is the domain. You can see it from the picture, which is, in my opinion, better, or you can do that through algebraic process. Do not just automatically write negative infinity to positive infinity. It's okay in theoretical abstract space. It may not be okay in empirical world. Okay, part C. The price when the maximum revenue is attained. And what is the maximum revenue? Well, if you have the vertex form, that's easy, but vertex form is relatively difficult to get, so let's tentatively forget about it. Either from the general form, you can get the intercept form easily by factoring, and then remember the graph like this, maximum at p equal to 10, and plug in p equal to 10, you're going to get the revenue at p equals to 10. And that's what we have here. Average price, 0 and 20, so $10. Plug in p equals to 10 and run your calculator. That's 500. And yeah, that's it. And by the way, that's how you got 500 here as well. Of course, if you want to use this formula here, H and K, go ahead. You can do it. B is 100, A is negative 5. It'll work out. Here B is 100, A is negative 5, C is 0. It'll work out, but it's a little bit difficult method. What's next? How many units sold at that price? Okay, price $10. $10 and X value, come on, right here. Plug in P equals 10 right here. So number of units sold is X and P is 10, so plug in 10 here and we're going to get negative 5 times 10 plus 100, you have 50. Okay, so plug in P equals 10 here. And then graph, okay, we already did it. That's the graph, it's quadratic model. So we have a parabola, concave down, and so on. Finally, what is a, yeah, okay, there's a hard problem. What price should the company charge to earn at least $480, excuse me, in revenue? The problem said $480, at least $480. So we are looking at greater than or equal to 480. So this, as a matter of fact, is an inequality problem. Quadratic inequality. We did an awful lot of those in lesson 10a. So how do we handle that? Flip everything to the left-hand side. Negative 5p squared plus 100p minus 480 is less than or equal to 0. And negative 5, that makes unnecessarily complicated. So multiplying by negative to each squared plus minus 100p plus 480 is greater than or equal to 0. What am I doing here? Flip everything over, so that should be greater than or equal. And multiplying by negative infinity, I switch the order of inequalities. Okay, now it's right. Sorry about the typo. Too complicated. I can divide it by 5. So p squared minus 20p plus is that right? 480. Yeah, 96 is right. Okay, when you do mental math, don't just rely upon yourself. Always check. Okay, let's factor this. Factors of 96 adding up to negative 20. What do you have? P minus 12, P minus 8. Did I do this right? 8 times 12, 96. We have to have same sign. Add up to negative 20, so both negative 12 and negative 8. Okay, that thing is less than or equal to 0. And we have done an awful lot of quadratic inequality in previous lesson, lesson 10a. So let's go ahead with conclusion. 8p. So between $8 and $12, we will sell $480 or more. So graph, $480 is somewhere around here. That's going to be between 8 and 12. It makes sense in terms of graphics, but the full algebraic solution is here. What did I do here? Yeah, same thing. Okay, that concludes example 1, and we're going to consider the other examples in separate videos.